January 17th, 2020, and I don't know where to start. Um, got the call a few hours ago from my friend Steve Kane, um, telling me that, did you hear that Rocky Johnson had died? I had heard some rumors earlier in the day. Um, this one's really, this one's really hit me. Uh, I've known Rocky personally as a friend since the 70s. I've known him as a wrestler that I was a huge fan of since the 70s. Um, I think I think if I remember correctly now, the first time I had seen him was in photos that were sent to us at the magazines by Theo Errett, who was our photographer back in the magazine days at the old Olympic Auditorium. And he sent these incredible pictures of this man doing incredible moves and flying stuff, and pictures of him with George Foreman. He was a sparring partner with the boxer George Foreman, and pictures of him with Muhammad Ali. And but when I lived in New York, we started getting the Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium shows, and I got to see him for the first time. And he was amazing. He was incredible. I remember seeing him in single matches and tag teams and in the annual Los Angeles Battle Royal. And he had a flying drop kick that I never saw anyone do a drop kick like this before. He would shuffle his feet. He would do like the Ali shuffle, uh, and then wiggle a little bit and go up in the air so high and get the opponent right in the head. When he came to the WWF, I got to I got to meet him in Texas before then when he was wrestling for Paul Bosch. Yeah, and he was on a tour down in Texas, and he was partnering a lot with Jose Lothario and some of the other wrestlers down there. But I got to travel with him quite a few times there, and we became good friends. And he always told me back then about how much he wanted to be a boxer originally, but wrestling totally stole his heart. Through the years, we had many dinners together. He and The Rock's mother, Ata, were married for quite a long time, and they invited me to their home in Florida. Spent a lot of time with them there, and again, just at various barbecues and dinners, going out with Scott Epstein, who was one of the late Scott Epstein, who was one of Rocky's best friends and his agent for quite a long time too. And in the last few years, Rocky was a very familiar face at the wrestling conventions that I go to all the time. And we always sat and we talked. And I told him, I asked him how he's doing, and I always asked him, I said, how's that kid of yours, that Dwayne guy, doing? Talked to him probably 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. I was in the middle of, 3/4 of the way through the ECW book on his life story, and I was just reading part of it last night. And he was my friend. He was my friend. And an amazing fact, because he was married to Ata, who was the daughter of Leah and Peter Maivia, and so he had complete. Well, he was like not a blood relative, but related to the Samoan family through marriage. And on January 15th, 2017, another member of that whole big family, Superfly Jimmy Snuka, died on January 15th, 2017. And they were really good pals too. And just to think that they died on the same date, the same day, um, 3 years apart. I will miss you, Rocky Johnson. And my condolences go out to you, your family, and your friends, your lovely wife, Sheila, for the past 10 years, and Atta, of course, and Dwayne, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Um, Dwayne The Rock Johnson's inspiration to become a wrestler was his dad, and he was a fabulous man. And he always had a good joke to tell, and he always had a nice smile for everybody, and I'm going to miss him. So I figured, let me go back and dig up a couple of the interviews I did with him in the last few years, and one of them, I talked about he and Jimmy Snuka dying on the same date, January 15th. One of them is an interview I did with both of them. If you were a fan of Rocky Johnson's, please leave your comments. I'd love to read them. Man, this, as I mentioned, is a real hard one. Rocky Johnson dead at the young age of 75 years old. All right, I gotta stop this. See.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, from OneWrestling.com. This is Bill Apter, and look who I found here at Legends of the Ring, one of my dearest old friends, and the man with the $1 million drop kick. You drop kicked better than
That was
anybody.
in them days, Bill. Now it's the days. It's a lot different today. That was in them days. But you know what?
You can still, I bet you can still do it.
I could if I had to, but really I don't have to. So, but it's always good seeing you, and it's a pleasure. So.
Likewise. Now, you just gave me some amazing news that you have in the near future a book coming out.
Yeah, it's called The Ring King, the Soulman, the Rocky Johnson story. It's going to start right from. It actually goes back to. We traced it back to 1800, where my family were slaves and all that.
You're not that old.
No, pretty close to it though.
Right.
And then it goes all the way up to the end to me retired like I am now. I'm fade out, and then my boy fades in.
Your boy. Who is that again?
Who is that? I think they call him The Rock.
Oh,
yeah.
If you smell what he's cooking.
I smell what he's cooking every day.
My wife and I, last week, depending upon when you're watching this, saw his new movie, San Andreas. It was remarkable, and I understand that you've seen it, obviously.
Well, actually, and I've been there on some of the scenes with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. It did #1, but the one before that, Fast 7 did over $1 billion, so that was a fantastic
and he's
movie.
got a TV show.
He's got a TV show coming. Yeah, actually, we were filming it in Miami, Ballers for HBO.
Yeah. So now, when he was a little kid, I remember clearly at your house standing there in front of the mirror with he and I doing the Battle of Dusty Rhodes and Jimmy Snuka imitations.
He did that all his life, didn't he? He imitated a Hulk Hogan, Dusty Rhodes, me, everybody.
He did tell me, and it's in my book now, that that I do a better imitation of Superfly Snuka than he does.
Yeah.
But we are looking forward to your book, of course. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, when Dwayne was growing up, did you ever envision that he would reach the pinnacle of...
No way in the world.
Yeah.
Never ever thought it. He wanted to play football, which he did. He wanted to go into wrestling. I really didn't want him to go in because I didn't want him to go through what I had to go through 30 years ago.
I remember, yeah.
I mean, so, and I said, okay, I'll train you, but I'm going to train you 150%. And I did. The rest is all history.
All right. Let's point out to the camera. Bill Apter, Rocky Johnson, The Rock Sr., and we'll see you at the matches. Yeah. Hello, everyone, from OneWrestling.com. This is Bill Apter. I'm here at the NWA Legends Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm with two of the great legends of all time, Superfly Jimmy Snuka and the Soulman Rocky Johnson. Now, one question I have is, and if you did, I don't remember this, did you two ever team up?
Yeah, we did. We did it a few times. We teamed up in Honolulu, Hawaii. Actually, we were the Hawaiian Tag Team Champions for about 5.5 months. We never lost the belt. We let them go because we went on tour of Japan.
What was it like teaming up with Rocky Johnson?
Brother, it's always nice to have the Soul Man as a tag team partner. You know the psychology of our wrestling business. When you get two brothers like this together, you know it's on.
All right. What kind of tag team partner was he, Rocky?
Be truthful with you and honest.
Don't lie to me.
He was one of the best.
Okay, all
He
right.
was the greatest.
Now, both of you, of course, the lineage of your families, Rocky, of course, your son, The Rock, he's currently making movies.
That's right. He is. He's doing very well. He was also in the wrestling business. And I'm going to tell you something that will surprise you, that Jimmy was also my brother-in-law. We were married to two sisters at one time.
Oh, right. I do remember that.
Right, so you knew that.
There's a long
There's
history.
a big family there, and me and Jimmy will be together for life.
Now, Jimmy's daughter is currently...
Yeah, that's right. She's
competing,
currently
right?
wrestling, and Jimmy can answer the questions better
I
than me.
was just going to do that. Jimmy, tell us how your daughter got to be to the level she is in the WWE.
Well, brother, you know, like my daughter and Jimmy, they started out when they were young. You know, I had a gym downstairs. They had a punching bag, you know, teaching them the martial arts, because I know that once they go to high school and everything, it's going to be a big problem for them. So, you know, I prepared them, and, you know, now where they're at right now. So Serona, she wanted to get involved in professional wrestling.
And she works as Tamina.
Right. And, but that's what she wanted, and I said, it ain't going to be easy, but if that's what you want, that's what Dad would love to do for you.
So when you're sitting there on Monday nights watching her on TV, what are you thinking?
Brother, I love every bit of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could sit there and just think back and say, wow, that's my daughter.
All right.
And I love it, brother. She's a good girl. She's prepared for it, and she's going to do something good for everybody.
Now, your son, of course, was in WWE for a period of time, and he left. What happened there, and what's he doing now?
Well, he's still wrestling around Independence, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be bringing him back again, you know. And, you know.
What would you do with it if you were... Actually, let's ask Rocky this, okay? If you were the booker running the WWE, what would you do with his son at this point?
At this point, I would bring him back up. I'd put him back in the wrestling business. I would change him a little bit. I'd put him in the gym. I'd change him. What I would do, maybe they wouldn't agree with.
So what would you do?
Well,
how would you refine
I'd bring
him?
him back out as the Polynesian, not as the ace and deuce. I'd bring him back as himself, as natural, and I'd put a little pizzazz and razzmatazz in him,
Yeah.
and let him go back out and be himself. I really believe they didn't have the right character for him.
Right.
I don't
right.
think it was his fault. I just didn't think they knew how to create him.
Okay.
That's my personal opinion. I think the problem is the day they give the guys they give them that character, and the character doesn't suit them, and they don't know how to change it.
Okay.
I'm not saying I know more than anybody,
Right.
but I've worked with a lot of guys.
Yeah, I know you
And
have.
I've worked
I
with
know
my
you
son,
have.
and
I
I
know
took
you-
him on to be world champion, and I'm not taking the credit because you have to have the ability to become champion, and I think Jimmy's son had that ability. It just wasn't put in the right places at the right time.
When you first heard that he wasn't going to be Jimmy Snuka Jr., what was your feeling about that?
You know, brother, it's a hard situation to think about it, but that's the way the business goes.
Yeah.
You know, but still yet, it is not because he's not my son, it's because he is my son.
Okay.
And I just want to let the world out there know, brother, that we love them, and we love you, and we thank you for interviewing us. You are the greatest. We love you, me and Brother Rocky.
Well, thank you both. Thank you both. Yeah, yeah. Now, what I want to ask you, everybody's always talking about the negatives of today's pro wrestling. What are the positives of today's pro wrestling?
Well, the negatives is everybody says. I think the negatives is a lot of showmanship. There's a lot, little one over the line, a little bit too much showmanship in professional wrestling.
But what are the positives?
The positive is you have to be a great athlete. You have to be trained. You have to be in good condition. You go over them top ropes, you're hitting that floor. You're coming off a 15-foot ladder. You're going over the ropes. You're hitting the table. You better know how to fall. You better know how to be in shape. You got to get up. You got to understand this. A lot of people don't. And I'm not knocking any other sport, but I've been there and done that. When you get hurt, when we hurt our back or shoulder or knee, we got to go back in tomorrow night. We don't get on the 15-day disabled list. Yeah. And that's what, we got to get up, pull our pants up and go again.
So the positive is?
The positive is you better be in condition at all times.
Okay.
And you better start grinding.
All right.
And keep going.
Jimmy Snuka, again, everybody talks about the negatives of wrestling on all the message boards and all that on the internet. What are the positives about wrestling in 2010?
Brother,
You watch it, so.
I watch it all the time. I love watching it. I'm right into this business as always. Negative.
No, negatives we know enough about. What are the positives?
The positives is what you love.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, and people enjoy it.
Yeah.
If they didn't enjoy it, they wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
It's very simple. If you don't like it, change the channel.
Yep.
Just 1 second.
So, brother, the most important key is keep going ahead and forget about the negative. And that's what I told my daughter. And I want to wish her very much. And
Think about the positives. Yeah.
Stay ahead of that and be that way, because that's how it's going to get you there, by being positive. If you get a negative, something is holding you back, which you don't want. You clear that out of the way and you continue on.
All right.
And I just want to wish my daughter the best of luck.
Oh, yeah.
And the happiness in this world. Go get them, sister. Pop loves you very much.
Now, our last question. We're going to go back in time here. I need you to lean in. We're going to do an old school interview, okay, tonight. For the tag team belts, you two are defending the titles against the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, Rocky Johnson, Jimmy Snuka. What's going to happen tonight when you meet them in Honolulu, Hawaii?
What's going to happen tonight? I'm not going to be screaming and hollering. I never believed in that, and never went out around my mouth and said I was going to do this or going to do that. I went out with one thing in mind, and that was to win, no matter what it took, at no cost.
So look at the camera and tell
at
the
no
Road
cost,
Warriors what you're gonna do.
at no cost, I'm going to be the boss.
All right. Jimmy Snuka, what's going to happen tonight? You and Rocky Johnson against the Road Warriors?
You know what, brother? There's nothing to worry about, because once you start, everything's going to be lovely, brother.
In the TV Wonderland?
You bet.
All right.